Hello friends. This is Fiction Quest. How are you all? So in this video, we will see what if Naruto awakened the Black Blade of Fairy Tail. But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, if possible, share this video with your friends. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. Makarov was currently watching his grandson with a huge frown. After Fairy Tail became victorious in the guild war against Phantom Lord, Laxus returned and told how weak the mages in Fairy Tail were. Makarov didn't want to listen to his grandson's rant, so he decided to read a letter that arrived this morning. When he opened the envelope and read from who it was from, he couldn't help but smile. "Master, I have completed the 10-year mission and I am to return shortly. Please, and I mean it, don't make a big deal of my return. Sincerely, Naruto Uzumaki." It seems everyone's favorite blonde is returning. You're in a world of surprises when you return. Makarov thought as he sent partial glances at both Urza and Mira. When I become guild master, I'll get rid of all you weaklings." With that said, Laxus left the guild. Most members were fuming with how Laxus called them weak. "Attention children, I have an important announcement," Makarov said with a huge smile. Most were confused and some were curious. It seems that Black Blade has completed the 10-year mission and will return soon. The reaction were different. Most were shocked. A certain pink-haired mage was giddy with the thought of fighting him. Lucy was confused. Gray had a smirk and Urza and Mira had a small smile on their face. 6 years ago, you took me and my siblings away from the village and saw me as me. It took me 2 years to realize what I felt for you, but you left before I can tell you. Now that you returned, I won't miss my chance," Mira thought as a smile crossed her face. "I don't understand the feelings I have for you and I don't think I ever will. Every time you smiled, I couldn't help but smile also. You saved me from loneliness and your presence made me feel warmth. When you left I felt a part of me missing also. I didn't understand it, but I realize one thing, I want my future with you in it," thought Urza with a smile. "Master, when is he arriving? I want to fight him," yelled Natsu, getting blasted away by Gray. "Shut up, Pinky, you know he would beat you like every other time," Gray said as he rubbed the back of his head. Natsu immediately got in his face. "Do you want to go, Frosty? Let's go, Bubblegum." Before they could start another all-out guild brawl, Urza appeared before them, leaking out her magic energy, causing both of them to shake. "Who's Black Blade, and why is everyone acting like he's a big deal?" asked a confused Lucy. Mira then answered her question. "You could just call him Naruto, and Naru-kun is one of our S-class mages. He's very strong, if not our strongest member," explained Mira with a compassionate smile, confusing Lucy with how she put the kun suffix in his name. "PSS's, why does Mira talk about this Naruto that way?" Lucy whispered to Natsu and Happy. Happy then put his paw in front of his mouth and gave a teasing smile. "'Cause Mira likes him," Happy responded, shocking Lucy. This Naruto must be something if he can get Mira to respond this way. Mira heard what Happy said, but didn't respond, she just blushed cutely. "I agree with Mira, Naruto is one of our strongest members and without a doubt, stronger than me," Urza said as she closed her eyes and crossed her arms across her chest, with a tint of pink on her cheeks. Lucy was even more baffled with what Urza just said. Urza was the strongest mage she ever seen, and if he was stronger than Urza, then he must be a monster. He's stronger than you, Urza. He must be a monster if that's true. Lucy was completely baffled. She was imagining a giant man in heavy armor and a huge axe. "Yay, Naruto is the strongest," said Natsu, waving his arms comically. "The last time they fought, Snowcone over there couldn't even last 5 seconds against him." Better than the 4 seconds you lasted, Pinky," Gray got on Natsu's face. "Screw you, Ice Pop. I lasted 6 seconds last time." Lucy's jaw dropped when she heard what they said. They couldn't even last more than 10 seconds against him. "Is it true, Master? Is he really that strong?" Lucy asked. "They don't lie, Lucy. He's actually supposed to be a wizard saint, but he declined," Makarov said after taking a chug from the beer he was drinking. "A wizard saint? Why decline the position?" asked Lucy. Lucy was now completely scared of the man known as Naruto. "He said he didn't want to take orders from the council. Well, he never really liked them in the first place," said Makarov with a smile. Well, it seems you ignored what I asked in my letter. Sigh troublesome, said a voice coming from the guild's door. When they turned around they were shocked with what they saw. A man with blonde locks and whisker marks on his angular face. He wore a black long-sleeved shirt that didn't hide his not overly muscular muscles. He wore black pants tucked inside his black boots. Over his long sleeve he wore a dark gray cloak. But what shocked those who knew him were his eyes. The once beautiful cerulean eyes that resembled the sky, now looked a dull blue, eyes that a person who gave up on life would have. My boy, why do your eyes seem so empty, like you lost all your will to live? Thought a worried Makarov. The eyes that radiated joy and happiness, now looks like a void of sadness. What happened on that mission, Naru-kun? Thought Mira with tears in the corner of her eyes. Most of the guild were thinking similar thoughts except an oblivious pink-haired mage. Fight me! Yelled Natsu as he rushed Naruto, who had yet to move. Naruto summoned two beautiful black blades from his pocket dimension and held them in reverse grip. He did a weird stance and said, Black Sword Art Version 3. Dance of the Sky Goddess. Faster than human eyes we find Naruto behind Natsu. Click! Naruto sheathed his blades and we see Natsu falling. Still as reckless as I remembered. Naruto began walking toward Makarov, passing Lucy whose jaws were on the floor of what she just witnessed. He beat Natsu like it was nothing. He looks close to my age and he's so hot, thought a blushing Lucy. Ignoring his surroundings he walked toward Master. Master, we need to talk. We'll talk later, let's just celebrate your return. Makarov said, getting a reluctant nod. Before they bombarded Naruto with questions, they heard another voice coming from the doorway. Tu-san, said a petite voice. They turned to find a small child with red hair in a single ponytail. She had cerulean eyes and wore a simple white dress that reaches the bottom of knees. Oh, excuse me, I would all like you guys to meet Kushina, my daughter. You have a daughter? Those who knew the blonde yelled in unison. Naruto just sighed and rubbed the back of his neck, already knowing that they were going to react like this. Kushina ran up to Naruto and held his leg tightly. That's what I said. Geez, you guys are louder than I remembered. Naruto said as he stroked Kushina's hair as she hid behind his leg. She was frightened by the guild. Master walked closer to the little girl and asked. Hi little girl, my name is Makarov. Can you tell me how old you are you? Makarov asked with a genuine smile. Little Kushina looked at Makarov from behind Naruto's leg and introduced herself. Hi Makarov, I'm Kushina, and I'm this many, Kushina said, holding two fingers, receiving squeals from the females of the guild. She's so cute. Kushina buried her face deep in her daddy's leg when she heard what they said. Kushi-chan, don't be scared, there are really nice people and they just want to meet you. Naruto said with a forced smile that fooled most, except for Makarov. Now you have to force yourself to smile. I'm going to get every single detail of what happened on that mission, thought Makarov with a frown. Urza and Mira were watching from a facial expression and Myris showing pain and agony. Urza was feeling the same emotions she felt as when Jelal betrayed her. Mira felt the same betrayal and pain as Urza. They had no doubts it was his child, with the beautiful eyes of his father. Realizing that, they came with a conclusion that wasn't any less painful. You fell in love with another woman, thought both women. Both were taken out of their thoughts by Makarov. So Naruto, where's the lucky girl that tamed the mighty, black blade, of fairy tale? Asked Makarov without knowing the consequences. Naruto stiffened and looked at the floor, shadowing his eyes. He summoned a stuffed fox toy from his pocket dimension and held it in front of Kushina. She happily grabbed it and ran to table to play. Makarov, realizing the answer was going to stop him, but was too late. She's dead, said, hiding any emotion from his voice. This caused the guild to look at Naruto with sympathy. He cast a glance at Kushina, who was happily playing with the stuffed fox. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Makarov apologized for his actions. Makarov didn't want to push the subject any further, so he changed the subject. So since you returned home, are you going to stay for a while? Makarov asked. Yes, master. Kushi-chan deserves to have a true childhood and not spend most her life on the road, said Naruto. And besides, who's going to watch this idiot? Naruto said, pointing behind him. Natsu has just awoken from the recent fight he just took in. You bastard. I demand a rematch. Natsu jumped at Naruto, but before he could reach his intended target, a certain redhead grabbed Natsu and put him in a chokehold. Natsu. Stop making a ruckus, said Urza, tightening her chokehold. Well, if isn't my Crimson Princess, how are you doing, Urza? Urza blushed deeply when he heard Naruto call her his Crimson Princess. The whole guild were shocked how Urza allowed a man call her princess and not beat him to a pulp. None were more surprised than Lucy, Natsu and Gray. Why would Urza allow Naruto to call her like? Lucy whispered. It's 'cause Urza likes him, Happy said before dodging a sword that came out of thin air. Naruto also noticed her blush and decided to tease her. He walked up to her and delicately put his hand on her cheek. Urza-chan, are you alright? You feel hot. Urza blush darkened, causing Naruto to inwardly smirk. He put his forehead on hers. Wow, I think you're coming up with a fever. Maybe I should take you to bed so you can rest. I don't want you to be alone, so I'll be accompanying you. Do you want that, Urza? Do you want me to sleep with you? Naruto whispered with a husky voice that sent shivers down her spine. Urza was feeling hot in her clothes and before she answered. Haha, just kidding, Urza. You should have seen your face. Urza's world came crashing down her when she heard what he said. Pure rage began to erupt, but she felt a tugging on her skirt. She turned to the perpetrator and saw Kushina looking up her with hopeful eyes, hugging the stuffed fox tightly. Are you my mommy? Naruto looked on with so much sadness it nearly broke his heart. He daily felt guilt for the loss of her mother. Kushina, if you knew the truth, would you still see me as your father? Urza didn't know what to do. It was either break a little girl's heart or lie to a child. So he chose the first. No, I'm sorry, but I'm not your mommy. But if you would like, I can be your big sister. Urza said with so much compassion it surprised those who knew her a stone-cold badass. Yes, I would like that, Nei-chan, said Kushina with a huge smile. You could call me Urza Nei if you like, said with a similar smile. Wow, Urza-chan, you sure are great with kids. You'll be a great mother, no doubt, said Naruto, receiving a huge blush from Urza, forgetting how Naruto teased her earlier. You thank Yun Naruto, said Urza, mentally cursing herself for stuttering in front of him. Naruto looked around and connected eyes with the person he was looking for. Mira-chan, is that you? You look different than I last saw you, my demon princess, said Naruto as he walked up to her, causing her heart skip a beat. You look more than an angel than a demon, Naruto said, causing her to blush. Damn, you were always good with your words, thought a blushing Mira. Well, hi there, Naru-kun. You know people change over time. Mira was mentally arguing with herself. Her inner demon was telling her to take Naruto right there, in front of everyone. Instead, she took the safe path of simple flirting. I mean, look at you. You grew even more handsome, said Mira with a huge blush. Haha, well, something doesn't change. You're as bold as I last saw you, said an amused Naruto. Mira was shocked for what she realized. Naruto did know that she had feelings for him. Well, since you returned, we should celebrate, Makarov announced. The guild roared in agreement and began to party. Naruto went over to his daughter and decided to watch them. Makarov walked up to him and took a seat next to him. It's good to be home, isn't it? Makarov asked, not looking at him. Naruto just continued to look on with his same blank expression. He sighed, getting Makarov attention, and pointed forward. Makarov gained a look of horror for what he was going to witness. Natsu and Gray were fighting too close to Urza and her strawberry cheesecake. Natsu ended up stumbling onto Urza's table and knocked her cheesecake off the table. A look of horror reached the most of the guild's face as Urza gained a killer look. She reminds me so much of my mother, Naruto said. He sighed and scratched the back of his neck, remembering his hot-tempered mom beat on him when he did something stupid or if someone spilled her ramen. Naruto watched on as his Urza began beating Natsu and Gray. Haha, yay, but she was worse, with her raw demonic energy form. Makarov added, recalling the young redhead back in his guild. By the way, did she ever tell you who your father was? Makarov asked. Not really, all she said was he loved me deeply and regretted not being able to be in my life, Naruto said with his blank expression. Makarov was slightly worried of Naruto showing no emotions. 5 years ago, talking about his deceased mother was sorta taboo around the guild. Naruto would become instantly depressed and spent the remainder of the day crying at his house. But now, Naruto isn't showing any sign of hurt. Master, I'm going to home now. I need to settle Kushina in. Naruto said as he stood up with Kushina in his arms. Makarov nodded and watched as Naruto walked out of the guild. Memories of a beautiful redhead and a 7-year-old blonde kid came up in his mind. He smiled sadly as he recalled those memories. Will you ever be the same again, Naruto? What are you doing, Sasuke? Why are you running to join that damn snake? Naruto screamed at the person standing on top of the statue of the legendary black mage, Madara Uchiha. Why do you care so much, Naruto? You barely even know me. Why do you care what I do with my life? Sasuke yelled at Naruto, who stood on top of the legendary nature manipulation mage, Hashirama Senju. The mage who defeated Madara in what is called, the Battle of the End. I'm doing this because you're my friend, Sasuke, yelled Naruto. Naruto has only been in Konoha for about a year and he could truly say he became attached to some of the people here. Kiba and he pulled pranks around the village. He constantly played shogi with Shikamaru. Dealt with the constant flirting from Ino. Constant Sasuke's emo traits, Hinata's weirdness, Sakura's fangirl attitude, Shino being Shino and Choji's food cravings. Hell, they had their own grandpa figure here too. He cherished time with Sasuke the most. Even though Naruto was stronger than Sasuke, Sasuke saw him as rival, later becoming best friends, much to their refusal. You know, Naruto, this place is special. This is the location of the legendary battle between my ancestor Madara and the first leader of our village Hashirama, a perfect place for our last battle. Sasuke said as his eye magic the Sharingan blazed to life. Sasuke KNNG best friends with the blonde that came to Konoha a year ago. The villagers always pitied the lone Uchiha with condolence and treated him like a helpless child. Sasuke hated the fake pity and sympathy he received from the villagers and the special treatment he got from the shinobi. Until a certain blonde came here and for once treated him different. When Sasuke introduced himself as the sole survivor of the Uchiha, he was shocked for how the blonde answered. You didn't answer my question, oh so honorable Uchiha. I asked who you are. The blonde saw him for him and not his clan name. From that moment he became close to Naruto. Is that how you want it, the Sasuke? You want me to kick your ass and drag you back to Konoha? Naruto was now completely furious with Sasuke now that he decided to play along. Fine. I'm going to break every bone of your body and drag you back if I have to. As if you can beat me. Both rushed toward each other with Sasuke hold two kunai in his hand and Naruto holding both his blades in his hand. One was beheld reserve hand and the other in the traditional way. Sasuke began an onslaught of slashes trying to keep Naruto on the defensive. Sasuke has seen Naruto use his blade offensively and he didn't want to be on the receiving end. Sasuke stepped back and threw both his kunais toward and followed with quick hand signs. Fire make. Giant fireball. Sasuke spit a giant fireball that would have destroyed all who stand in front of it. Naruto quickly put the reversed grip blade behind him and held the other blade in front him and said, Black Sword Art version 2. Impenetrable twister. Naruto quickly spun so fast, it created a huge twister that destroyed the fireball. Is that all you got, Sasuke? Naruto rushed toward Sasuke ready to finish him where stood. Sasuke quickly brought another two kunais and narrowly dodged all the strikes thanks to his Sharingan. With the superior strength Naruto had, one strike was too strong that caused him to fly toward the river. Sasuke inwardly cursing for not being able to withstand Naruto's assault. He felt weak, causing him to widen his eyes. You're still too weak, little brother. The feeling of being weak and helpless in front of a superior foe caused a third Tomoe of the Sharingan to appear. Naruto rushed in again and to his surprise Sasuke dodged each strike. Naruto quickened his strike and to avail, Sasuke dodged each blow. What the hell? How is he dodging my strikes? Naruto's eyes widened when he noticed the third Tomoe appear. His earlier fight with Itachi taught him the true potential of the legendary eye magic. Surprised Naruto? My eyes have evolved enough to see your strikes. You don't stand a chance now, said a cocky Sasuke. Sasuke's body began to change a dark grayish color and his hair becoming paler. I think it's time we finish this, Naruto. Naruto's whole body began to glow. Instead of wearing his usual attire now stood a shirtless Naruto with black and silver pants and samurai-style sandals. He wore two black arm sleeves that reached the bottom of his elbows, decorated with what looked like white flames. What made the outfit unique was the mask that covered one half of his face. The mask covered the right side of his face. It was pure white mask that resembled a demon's face. It showered giant teeth that looked real and a black slit as the eye hole. Red paint ran down the corner of its eye, showing the image of a crying demon. Naruto held a black staff on his shoulder. Overall he looked like a demon stalking his trapped prey. Requip. Incarnation of the Forgotten Armor. I agree as well, Sasuke. Naruto said with an intimidating voice. Incarnation of the Forgotten Armor was quite a weird armor to use in a battle like this. It was not his strongest or his fastest, but Naruto chose this armor for a special purpose. Sasuke, do you know why I'm using this armor? This armor lets me embody the soul of one of the dead, said Naruto as he looked Sasuke straight in the eyes. Have you forgot what they mean to us? Sasuke was tired of listening to Naruto, so he flew towards Naruto to finish him off. What happened next shocked him. Sasuke was swatted away by none other than the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Do you finally understand this armor's power, Sasuke? Said Naruto as the illusion of Hiruzen faded back to Naruto. Sasuke's eye widened, realizing what its power was. You're able to use the power of fallen allies. Naruto nodded as he began to rotate his staff in front of him, blocking view from him. When he stopped, he took the image of one mage who was considered a legend throughout the Element Nation, the who stood toe-to-toe with the Black Dragon, Acnoglia. There stood the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. So how about we finish this with one final move? Said a transformed Minato. He began to form one of Minato's famous spell, the Rasengan, on his right hand. Sasuke smirked and started to conduct grayish lightning on his left hand. Both jumped toward each. Rasengan. Chidori. Both screamed as their attack connected with each other. Their attacks connected and created a black sphere that then turned white. Both mages inside the sphere smirked at each other before Naruto closed his eyes. After the sphere dissipated, it created a huge explosion that scared the very earth. When the smoke disappeared, there stood both mages looking toward each other. Sasuke's complete left arm was severely wounded, shaking in the pain, and contrary to Naruto. He looked completely fine, back into his normal attire. Next time don't go easy on me, said Sasuke as gave a true smile toward his friend. Ha, I underestimated you, Sasuke. Maybe next time, I won't hold back. Naruto smiled toward his friend as he moved to the side, allowing Sasuke to pass through. Sasuke slowly began walking past him holding his injured arm. Sasuke stopped and looked toward his friend. He tossed his headband to Naruto, severing all ties to Konoha. Sasuke smirked at him, causing Naruto to smirk back. Next time we meet, I will kill my brother and come after you next. Sasuke turned around and began walking away, not before saying his final words. And kick your ass. With that, Naruto watched as he disappeared into the forest. Wow, I can't believe you let him go, shithead, said a redhead who hopped down from where she was watching and stood next to Naruto. You easily beat him. Why did you let that stick in the ass Uchiha go? The redhead asked as she stared at the blonde next to her, who still was looking at the spot his friend departed from. He would have tried to leave any chance he had, Tayuya-chan, teased Naruto. Tayuya blushed out of embarrassment and went to attack Naruto, who easily dodged. Stop calling me like that, you stupid bastard. Tayuya went for a strike but ended up slipping on the wet terrain and fell on top of Naruto, who also slipped with her. The awkward way they were aligned caused major blushing from both sides. Tayuya was between Naruto's leg, with her knees really close to Naruto's private area. Her arms on both sides of his head, causing her chest to be smashed onto his. Their faces close to each other, allowing them both to feel each other's breath. Tayuya wasn't able to think straight by the sudden situation, so out of instinct, she kissed him. Naruto's eyes widened when he felt her lips on his. Tayuya, realizing what she was doing, pulled back and tried to apologize. Tayuya wasn't able to finish because Naruto leaned forward and recaptured her lips. The kiss lasted a few more moments before Tayuya leaned back, much to Naruto's disappointment. She stared at his mesmerizing eyes before she said what was on her mind. Naruto, I think I love you. For once Tayuya used his real name. She needed to tell him. Naruto became shocked hearing the words that came out of Tayuya's mouth. He stared up at her, staring at her compassionate eyes before telling her what he felt. I think I love you too? Naruto said, sounding more than question than a response as she embraced toward his body. Tayuya had a huge smile when she heard him, ignoring the fact that Naruto didn't know on how he felt. Reality. Ag. Naruto woke up from the dream he was having. He just woke up from dreaming of the day Sasuke left to join Orochimaru and the day he told Tayuya how he felt. He still couldn't believe such a beauty would fall in love with him. I still can't get you out of my head, Tayuya. Naruto looked down at the small red bundle sleeping on his chest. She looks a lot like you, Tayuya. You would have loved how she turned up. I'm sorry for what I did to Tayuya. Naruto had a frown on his face when he remembered what happened that night. He feels the feeling of dread when he gets those memories. What would the guild think of me if they knew the truth? After Naruto woke up from his nightmare, he began to make breakfast. Eggs, bacon, hash browns and some miso ramen. Guess for who? Kushina woke up from the smell of food. She ran downstairs and ran into the kitchen with drool coming from the corner of her lips. Naruto set the food up because he knew of his daughter's impatient trade she got from her mother. To Naruto's horror, she began to gulp down the 7 bowls of ramen he made for himself. I made this healthy breakfast for you. The ramen was mine, screamed Naruto with anime tears running down his face. Kushina looked from her 5th bowl. But ramen is the food of the gods. Little Kushina retaliated. Naruto stopped his ranting and looked down his daughter with a proud look. Did I ever tell you how much I love you? All the time, Daddy, said a cheery Kushina. After Kushina and Naruto fought for the last bowl of ramen, which Kushina's famous puppy dog trick made Naruto reluctantly give in, they began to walk to the guild. Naruto looked at his daughter with a sad look. You look exactly like your mother, Kushina. Though you have my eyes, you get everything else from her. Your beautiful red hair, your bright smile, and your mom's face. Sometimes it's painful to look at you. Thought a sad Naruto. He didn't realize that Kushina noticed his look. Daddy, why do you look so sad? Naruto got out of his thoughts and looked at his daughter. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to worry you. Naruto looked away as he decided to tell Kushina the truth. I was just thinking of your mother. This caused Kushina to look at his dad with hope in her eyes. What about mommy? Am I gonna finally meet mommy? Is she coming soon? When she comes, is she going to stay forever? Kushina began to bombard Naruto with many questions. Naruto's heart felt like it was pierced by thousands of blades. He didn't want to tell her the complete truth because she was not ready, so he decided to give her a white lie. No, she is still not coming, but she sent me a letter of what she's been up to. She told me to tell you how she saved a whole village from a giant monster. Said with a fake smile. He pretended to be the monster and grabbed Kushina high, spinning her around. Some girls who saw the way Naruto was playing with his daughter, awed and wished they had someone like him. Whoa. Mommy sounds so cool, Kushina said as Naruto stopped spinning around. Daddy, could she beat you up? Kushina asked. Haha, maybe she was. I was kind of afraid of her when I first met her, said Naruto as he recalled how he first met Tayuya. Flashback. Naruto has been inside Konoha for about a month now. Since the Chunin exams began, Naruto was tasked with scouting for enemy spies. A 17-year-old Naruto was scouting around the forest when he heard an angelic sound. He followed the location of the music and what he saw shocked him. In front of her was a beautiful redhead sitting on stone. She had her eyes closed so didn't notice a certain blonde. She was wearing a black hat with bandaged sides. She wore a tan tunic, with black shorts and standard black sandals. In Naruto's perspective, she looked like an angel, and without thinking he said, "Beautiful." He said it loud enough he got the attention of a certain redhead. When she looked toward the perpetrator, she couldn't help but slightly blush. Standing in front of her was a handsome blonde looking at her intently. When Naruto realized that he just said what he was thinking out loud, he turned beet red. What the did you just say? Naruto began to back away slowly before running away in a full sprint. Tayuya was not far behind and began the chase. After half hour of running, Tayuya somehow caught up with Naruto and was going to begin her beatdown. But Naruto quickly explained that he was talking about her music. This made Tayuya to cool down temporarily before getting angry again. Wait, so you don't find me beautiful? Said Tayuya before getting ready for his beatdown again. Wah! Naruto was now confused. First she was mad because he called her beautiful. Now she's mad because he took it back. Trying to avoid a beat down again, he said something that caused the redhead to completely turn red. Wait, of course you're beautiful. I mean, look at you. I mistaken you with an angel when I first saw you. Naruto said sheepishly before quickly covered his mouth when he realized he slipped up again. To his surprise, she didn't try to beat him this time. Instead, she just huffed and turned away, not wanting Naruto to see her blushing. Lady, are you okay? You look red. Naruto was slightly concerned for the redhead. He walked toward her and put his hand on her forehead to check her temperature. Well, it seems you're heating up, Red-chan. Tayuya slapped his hand away, but that didn't stop her blush. Eh? You shithead. Why are you calling me red, you tard? Naruto blushed when he heard all the swear words coming from her. Wow, you curse more than a sailor, Red-chan, said Naruto. She blushed when she heard the chan suffix again. And you never told me your name, so I'm calling you Red-chan. Well, stop it, you shithead. Tayuya screamed at Naruto. I never allowed you to call me that. Seriously, Red-chan, have your parents never taught you about manner? Asked Naruto, not noticing Tayuya's scowl turned to a sad frown. I wouldn't know. They sold me to brothel before teaching me any way to act. All I remember about them before leaving me was that my bastard of a father was a drunk who constantly beat my mother. Oh, and that wasn't any better than him. She constantly beat me to vent out her anger and didn't care about my well-being. Tayuya said while looking away from Naruto. So you don't have parents either? Said more of a statement than a question. Tayuya's eyes returned as she studied him. I don't even have memories of my father and can't remember how my mother looked. Everyone tells me how great my mother was, but when I try to remember how she looks, my head starts to hurt. At least you knew about your parents. I don't even know how they look. I don't know if I should hate them or love. I just don't know what to think of them. Tayuya said as she continued to look down, not wanting to meet eyes with him. What? Naruto asked Tayuya, who began to blush harder. My name, it's Tayuya, she said with a deep blush. Oh, great to meet you, Tayuya-chan. My name is Naruto. And that began their relationship. Tayuya instantly punched Naruto for calling him with a suffix of such affection. Flashback end. Yup, you were pretty scary when we first met, thought Naruto. Kushina began asking more about her mother, which Naruto responded the same way as always. She's just like you, Kushina. This received a cute pout from Kushina, which he willfully withstood. Kushina and Naruto finally arrived to the guild, and right when they arrived, Naruto was hit by a flying mug. Daddy! Kushina yelled in concern as she held her father's head. Naruto had a dazed look when he was hit. Kushina became worried when she saw her daddy's face. Don't worry, Lil Kushi-chan, he'll be fine. Kushina looked at Makarov for a while before nodding and standing up, dropping Naruto's head on the wooden floor. Kushi-chan, if you're Naruto's daughter, then you must also have his crazy addiction to ramen, right? Kushina's eyes sparkled when she heard ramen. Go ask Mira if she would make you some. She's the pretty girl with white hair by the bad Mira, and asked her for ramen, which she happily complied. Naruto, are you alright, son? Naruto stood up and nodded. Naruto, I need you to do something for me. Naruto looked at Makarov with complete seriousness. Master, if you're asking me to do a mission, I would have to decline. I barely returned home and would like some time to rest before I start taking missions again. Naruto, this involves the safety of Team Natsu. This got Naruto's attention. Urza didn't notice this, but where they're heading to is very close to where that happened. Naruto knew he meant the Tower of Heaven. Urza only told less than a handful about her past and didn't want anyone else to know. Fine, but who is going to watch Kushina? Naruto asked as he stared at his daughter, who was completely devouring Mira's ramen. Don't worry about that. It seems she'd taken a liking to Mira. Makarov said. Naruto watched as Kushina began laughing with Mira. He walked up to Kushina and put his hand on her head, ruffling up her hair, much to her annoyance. He took the seat next to her and gave sly smirk toward Mira. Well, it seems you've taken a liking to my Demonheim. Mira blushed when he heard him calling her his. Daddy, why do you call Mira-chan Demonheim? This got a perverse giggle from Naruto before getting hit by a frying pan. Mira then turned to Kushina and gave her a smile. He calls me that because my magic, Mira said with a blush. Naruto stood back up and rubbed the spot Mira hit him on. OWW Demonheim. Well, anyway, Mira, I wondering if you could look after Kushina for a while. Naruto said back to his serious persona. Master gave me a mission. Sure. I'll love to, Mira said with a smile. She wanted to get to Kushina more anyway. Daddy, you're leaving me, Kushina said with a frown. For a little, princess. Naruto said with a frown as well. He hated being away from his daughter but knew that he had to. I'll let you leave, if you do something for me, Kushina said with a smile, getting a confused look. What is it? Naruto became worried for what she would ask. He believed it would involve something about her mother, and that made Naruto very worried. I want you to marry Mira-chan, so she can make me ramen every day. Her ramen is delicious. Kushina said without even thinking how it affected the two other people involved. What she said received a huge blush from the white-haired mage and Naruto to look slightly terrified. Do you even know what marriage is? Retaliated Naruto. All I know is if you marry Mira-chan, I'll get all the ramen I can eat, Kushina said cutely. Be a good girl Kushina, bye, Naruto said as he ignored her question and ran out the guild fast. Daddy. Sorry Mira-chan. Kushina said with a pout that caused Mira to jump over the counter and hug Kushina tightly. She's just so cute. Beach by Akane Resort. When Naruto arrived he found Natsu and asked him if everything was alright. Natsu and Gray told him how some people that knew Urza kidnapped her. Naruto's eyes widened and before a bright light covered him. Requip. Hunter armor. Naruto now wore green cargo pants tucked inside black combat boots. He was marked with red war paint that spread all over his body and black paint over his eyes. He wore the skin of a wolf over his head making him look more intimidating. This armor enhances my senses, allowing me to find any of my prey no matter how faint their presence is, Naruto said as he crouched down. Naruto sniffed the air and instantly found who he was looking for. Seems they're not as far I believed they were. Gray. Natsu go find a way to travel see. Receiving a confirmation eased him slightly but still couldn't shake what else he also smelled. I also smell a snake. Inside the Tower of Heaven. Once they arrived they decided going underwater, through a secret passage that Juvia found using her magic. Once they arrived inside they were surrounded by guards who were quickly disposed by the combined forces of Natsu, Gray, Juvia, Naruto and Lucy. They went deeper inside. They found Urza beating guards and asking for the whereabouts of a guy named Jelal. Urza turned around and found her friends here. Her eyes met Naruto's before turning around. What are you doing here? Leave now, this is my problem, Urza said, not wanting to meet eyes with anyone. We can't, these jerks took Happy, Natsu responded. Miliana. Don't worry, he's in good hands. But you don't understand, you really do need to leave, Urza said with slight desperation in her voice. Naruto walked toward Urza and put a hand on her shoulder. He made her look into his eyes and said, Urza, it's time you told them the truth, they deserve to know. Naruto told Urza, radiating warmth. Okay. Urza began to tell everyone of how she was a slave in the Tower of Heaven, about the failed jail escape, how she lost her eye and then torturing Jelal. How she started a rebellion and how Jelal became possessed, and how she was the only who escaped. That's why I'm the one who has to face Jelal, Urza said with conviction. And I'll be there as well, said Naruto, causing Urza to look at him. He grabbed her hand, not wanting her to feel she has to fight on her own. Yes too, Gray said, before everyone began to say as well. No, I'll be the one to stop Jelal, and me alone, Urza said, but what happened next surprised most. Naruto kneeled in front of Urza and said, Then let me be your blade. Naruto never looked up as he kept talking. I'll be your blade when you need me and your shield when you need it. Urza, please accept me as your weapon. Urza smiled when he heard him talk. She kneeled in front of him and grabbed him in an embrace. Fine, she said as she tightened her hold on Naruto, who returned the gesture. Their little moment was interrupted by the voice of a man, that caused Urza to hold Naruto tighter. Ha 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 ha, well, I just got to inform you that the council is currently having a debate if the Etherion cannon should be fired here, so either come and be killed by me or get killed by the Etherion. I even hired an assassination guild to make this game more fun. Oh, and Black Blade, since you joining the game made this an unfair handicap for Fairy Tail, so I brought an old friend of yours, said a man who was identified as Jelal, this getting Naruto's attention. Hello Naruto-kun. I hope you haven't forgot me. Naruto's eyes widened when he heard the new voice. He clenched his fist tight and looked at the floor in anger. Urza, never seeing Naruto like this, became really worried. Naruto, who was that?" asked Gray, who also was surprised by Naruto's reaction. Naruto didn't say anything, still furious in hearing him again. "Naruto?" Natsu said, trying to get his attention. Naruto ignored everyone, but one thing was on his mind. Orochimaru. Naruto couldn't believe he was here much more alive. He was sure that Sasuke killed him when Orochimaru became too weak to train him, but he was alive. He was sure of it, that voice was definitely his. "Naruto, who was that?" asked Natsu. Natsu wanted to know who was the guy that can make Naruto react in such anger. Naruto turned to Natsu and then his gaze turned to the rest of the group. "His name is Orochimaru, a bastard and snake pedophile. If you see that snake, do not engage him," Naruto said seriously. "He's too powerful for any of you to take him on." "Let me fight him," yelled Natsu before getting a hard glare from Naruto. "We don't have time for this," Naruto glared at Natsu in anger. "Urza, so if what you said is true, why do they see you as a traitor?" asked Lucy, trying to figure why Urza would be hated by her childhood friends. "Jelal probably told them a lie about me," said Urza with a sad expression. "You lie. Brother Jelal told us how you planted bombs in the ships," yelled Sho, tears threatening to fall. He would not let Urza talk about Jelal in that way. If Jelal didn't notice it, we would all be dead right now. "I would never do that, Sho," Urza said, confusing him. "I would never hurt you or anyone else." Urza is telling the truth. I knew that Jelal was lying. Alas, he approached the group. "I never stopped believing that you would return and stop Jelal, Urza," he said with a smile. After hearing this, Sho was in his own inner turmoil. He couldn't believe he had been manipulated after all this time. He turned to Urza reluctantly, wanting to apologize, but felt fear of rejection. Urza saw this and smiled softly toward Sho. Urza grabbed him and embraced him. "Sho, I never stopped thinking of any of you," Urza said, comforting, holding him tighter in her arms. "Well, now that the reunion is finished, how about we take down Jelal?" said Naruto as he began walking upstairs. He guessed that Orochimaru was up there also and wanted nothing less than to rip him to shreds. "Right," the group said in unison as they follow Naruto. Not going to mention some of the fights because they're the same as the anime. The group decided to split up. Natsu went to look for Happy. Lucy volunteered to go help him and a reluctant Juvia went with her. "Orochimaru, if this is really you, I'm going to give you hell for what you did to Tayuya," Naruto thought, not realizing Sho trapped Urza in card and began running away, claiming he'd protect her. "Sho! Stop!" yelled Simon. Simon turned to Naruto, who was oblivious to his surroundings. "Naruto! We need to go get her." Naruto got out of his mindset when he heard Gray's voice. "I'll go ahead. You will only slow me down." Naruto crouched down, then sprinted toward Urza and Sho. Before he could intercept them, a beautiful swordswoman struck Sho with her blade, also releasing Urza from the card that entrapped her. "So you're Titania? I've heard of your reputation with a blade. My name is Ikaruga. It's a pleasure to meet you," said the swordswoman. Ikaruga has long, bright pink hair which is tied on top of her head in two large buns. She possessed a curvaceous figure, peach skin, a beauty mark underneath each eye and sported red lipstick. She wore a long, slightly loose, white kimono with a red stripe in between two black stripes around the waist as well as a red triangle at the bottom of her dress, decorated by flames and skulls motifs. It was open at the top to reveal her shoulders and a fair amount of cleavage and was closed around the waist by a large black belt adorned with a horned skull. Her guild insignia was incorporated into her kimono and could be seen at the end of both sleeves. Ikaruga looked behind Urza and locked eyes with Naruto. She felt a chill when she stared at those cold eyes. "Who are you, handsome?" Ikaruga said with one sleeve covering half of her face. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. You may call me by the moniker I was given, the Black Blade of Fairy Tail. It's a pleasure to meet a fellow student of the sword," Naruto said with a mock bow. What Naruto said caused Ikaruga's eyes to widen. She was standing in front of a legendary swordsman. Instead of being frightened, she smirked, being blessed with such an opportunity. For someone said to be so powerful, you're quite the handsome one," Ikaruga said while eyeing Naruto. Naruto just gave a small smirk in response. "Enough of this. yelled an annoyed Urza. She equipped a broad sword and rushed toward Ikaruga, who took out her blade and destroyed Urza's Heart Crew's armor, shocking Urza because she didn't see the attack coming. Urza quickly stood up and stared at Ikaruga in shock. "Couldn't you see my attack, Titania? I have to say I'm disappointed," Ikaruga said before dodging an attack from Naruto. "Urza, don't worry about her, I'll take her on. You go and take on Jelal," yelled Naruto, causing Urza to look at him in worry. Naruto turned back to her, showing that he was completely serious. Reluctantly agreeing, Urza ran off and left Naruto to take on Ikaruga. Naruto re-equipped to a simple pair of black hakama with white flames on its side and had traditional samurai sandals. He also had 2 blades strapped on each side. Overall, he was just wearing pants, with no shirt on. "Wow, you're already taking your clothes off and we just met," Ikaruga said as she mockingly waved her face like a fan. Naruto unsheathed both his blades and glared at Ikaruga. "I really got some place to be and some ass to kick, so how about we finish with the flirting and get this over with?" Version 1. X Flash Slice. Naruto swung his sword in a X-A wind blade shaped like an X toward Ikaruga, who narrowly dodged and called out her spell. Yasha's Empty Flash. Naruto instinctively put his blades in front of him to defend, but still received cuts around his body. He looked a little shocked that he didn't see the attack coming and get this many wounds. "How?" asked shocked to the smirking swordswoman. She gave a mocking smirk toward the Naruto. "Yasha's Empty Flash allows me to slash anything, without my blade having to touch it," explained Ikaruga. "You are truly skilled with a blade. I'm honored to fight such swordswomen like you. Sadly, I will have to end this," Naruto said and held his blades in a reverse grip. Ikaruga looked confused, but Naruto used that as an opening. Version 3. Dance of the Air Goddess. Naruto disappeared to the naked eye and reappeared behind her. Ikaruga was confused at first until she felt immense pain. She fell on her knees, holding her stomach, as if she was struck there. "How? I feel your attack, yet I have no mark," said Ikaruga weakly. Naruto walked toward her and crouched in front of her. She began to feel fear when Naruto reached his hand toward her. To her surprise, he gently caressed her cheek, receiving a slight blush from Ikaruga. "That attack I used is so precise that it attacks you at a cellular level," Naruto said as his eyes stared into Ikaruga's eyes. "Why are you in a guild such as Trinity Raven?" asked Naruto curiously. His fight with her was short, but he can tell she trained in the art of sword, like him. "My skills were better used in the dark rather than being restricted in the light," Ikaruga answered as she turned away from Naruto. Her whole life, she trained to kill with a blade. She knew that light guilds frowned upon killing, so where better than a guild that specialize in killing? "That may be true, but stain the honor of following the sword by taking innocent life. Come to Fairy Tail with me. I'll help you realize your potential as a swordswoman," Naruto said with a smile, receiving a blush from her. "I will teach you the art of wielding a blade honorably." "Like they would accept a murder like me," she said with a sad expression. "I believe they will," Naruto said as he smiled toward Ikaruga. "With a good word from me, you'll definitely be accepted." "Okay, I'll join," she said happily. "If they accept me, that is." Naruto stood up and offered his hand to the swordswoman. Ikaruga took it and was pulled up toward his chest. She blushed from the close contact and without any thought she kissed him on the cheek. She blushed deeply for her action. Naruto just smiled toward her. "Ika-chan, I have a snake waiting for me, you know?" Naruto said with a sly smirk. Ikaruga blushed even deeper when she heard her pet name. She then looked at him. "You mean that creepy man with those snake eyes?" "Yes, that vile snake needs to be put down once and for all." Ikaruga let Naruto go and used most of her strength to stand on her own. "It's okay, I'll be fine on my own. Go and show them your strength, Naru-kun," Ikaruga said happily before looking worried at Naruto. "You've only got 15 minutes before Etherion fires." Naruto nodded. "Sho, I want you to go find your friend Simon and the others. Tell them to leave the tower immediately." Naruto then ran off to find Urza, Natsu, Simon, Gray and Happy. "Wait. So you're telling me Gray won and I lost?" Natsu exclaimed angrily. He was planning revenge on Fukuro before being interrupted by Simon. "We've got no time for that." I've been informed that Wally and Miliana found your friends Lucy and Juvia knocked out. They left the tower with them," said Simon. "All these Trinity Raven members have been defeated, leaving no one for me to fight," yelled Natsu. He felt completely useless right now. "There is still Jelal," said Simon catchy. "Please Natsu, I beg you to go save Urza," Simon pleaded. Throne room. Urza finally made it up where Jelal was located. Jelal knocked the Trinity Raven chess pieces, saying that the game is over. Urza also noticed a figure standing behind Jelal. Jelal stood up and turned to Urza. "Ah, Naruto-kun isn't with you. That's such a shame. I really wanted to see his reaction when he saw me," Orochimaru said with a twisted sneer. "Jelal, I came to free my friends," Urza said, ignoring Orochimaru. "I don't care for them now that the tower is complete," said Jelal. "The tower is going to be destroyed any minute now," yelled Urza. "I'm aware of that," Jelal said coolly. "Kukuku, it seems he has finally arrived." Urza turned to see Naruto. She was surprised to see the deep hatred Naruto was directing toward Orochimaru. "Orochimaru, you dare show your face to me after what you did to me, what you did to Tayuya?" Yelled with pure hatred. "You're the reason my daughter will never meet her mother. Kukuku, you blame me for her death, yet it was you who dealt the fatal blow," said Orochimaru. "Shut the hell up." Naruto was going to shoot toward Orochimaru until a coffin rose. "Kukuku, don't worry Naruto-kun, I'm feeling gracious today. I'll let you see your deceased lover one more time." The coffin dropped and out came the last person he thought he would ever see. Tears appeared on the corner of his eyes and began to stream down when he saw her again. "Tayuya. It seems that Ing Snake pedophile revived me to be his tool again, isn't that right, Blondie?" Tayuya said with a sad smile, ignoring the fact she will fight Naruto again. "Hee I guess so, Red," said Naruto with a forced smile. He tried to joke around but he couldn't hide the sadness in his eyes. He was staring into the eyes LL with the woman he loved and would soon be forced to fight her. "I hope you've been taking good care of our daughter Blonde. If I find out you're being a bad father to our daughter, I'm going to haunt your ass until you die, and after that, enjoy the remainder of eternity beating your ass in the afterlife," yelled Tayuya, causing Naruto to feel nostalgic of seeing his foul-mouthed lover. "Well, I don't want to interrupt this lovely reunion, but I brought you back to kill your former lover, Tayuya," Orochimaru said with a twisted smirk. Orochimaru put the kunai with the obedience seal behind her head. Her eyes became dull and lifeless. "Why, Orochimaru? Why do you make me fight her again? Didn't I suffer enough last time?" Naruto yelled as tears began to fall from his blue eyes. Naruto was plagued with nightmares as it was. Now he was forced to fight Tayuya for a second time. He could see her life fading from her eyes as a black blade went through Tayuya. Flashback. It's been 2 months since Kushina was born and he couldn't be happier. During his stay, he somehow discovered the identities of both his mother and father. Konoha, with the help of Naruto, has taken down 6 Akatsuki members: Sasori, Hidan, Kakuzu, Nagato and the 6 Paths of Pain, Konan, and Kisame. And he became a father to a beautiful daughter. Sakura and the Sand's Chiyo defeated Sasori of the Red Sand. Shikamaru buried Hidan away. Kakuzu was killed by Naruto when he used a technique Jiraiya taught him. He said something of being a birthright of sort. Nagato died when Naruto convinced him to trust him in building true peace in Earthland. Nagato chose to trust him, so he used an ancient magic to revive those he killed. Konan chose to trust Nagato and give her support to Naruto as well. Before the attack, Naruto heard rumors that Sasuke killed Orochimaru and Itachi. The rumors ended up being true when he found Kisame alone. Kisame smirked when he found Naruto and challenged him to a sword fight. Naruto and Kisame's fight was a back and forward fight, until Naruto came on top. Before he died, Kisame gave Naruto Samahada, which accepted Naruto. Kisame told him to clean the stain of history Samahada has by becoming his successor. Naruto knew it was a matter of time before he was allowed to go back home to Fairy Tail. He knew of the growing feelings toward him from Urza and Mira. He felt bad that he would hurt them, but he couldn't help but fall in love with Tayuya. Thinking of Tayuya, he couldn't help but feel excited. He just came from jewelry store and bought a beautiful diamond ring. He was head over heels in love with her and wanted to make sure to make her his wife. He wanted to complete his family that he created by making it official. Naruto walked up to his door. "Tayuya. I convinced Ba-chan to take care of Kushina. So I was wondering if you would like to have dinner." When Naruto walked in his room he shared with Tayuya and Kushina, he found it completely wrecked. Naruto quickly switched to his hunter armor to find any traces of Tayuya and Kushina. "I only smell Tayuya and Kushina here, so there wasn't any intruders," Naruto thought as he quickly followed the scent of his lover and daughter. Naruto felt her presence stop in an open area, about 400 yards away from Konoha. When Naruto finally caught up to them he was shocked for what he found. Kushina was crying as she laid on what appeared to be a complex seal drawn with blood. Over her was Tayuya in her curse seal's second stage form. Her face looked like that of an animal, with no remorse toward its prey. "Tayuya, what are you doing?" Naruto said with a weak smile. He calmly walked toward Tayuya trying to defuse the problem. "What's going on? Why are you acting like this?" "Grr. Tayuya, this isn't funny anymore. Please stop this and let's go home," Naruto said desperately. Tayuya was still unresponsive. She took out a dagger and knelt in front of Kushina. Tayuya's descended down. Before she could strike her daughter, she was tackled. "What the hell are you trying to do?" yelled Naruto as he stared down Tayuya. "You almost killed Kushina." Before Naruto could react, he felt huge pain surging in his abdomen. He looks down and sees a dagger going through him. Naruto fell to his side as Tayuya pulled the dagger out of him and walked toward Kushina. "I need to stop her," Naruto thought. "But you can't," a dark voice said in his head. "I need to save Tayuya and my daughter," Naruto thought desperately as he tried to get back up, but failing to do so. "But you won't," said the same voice. "I need to be strong and save them," trying to stand but failed again. "But you aren't." "Shut up. I won't let Tayuya hurt our daughter." Naruto tried to stand again but failed once again. Tayuya reached their daughter and put the blade overhead, ready to kill her daughter. "Accept my power, and you will be able to save your daughter." "Fine, just save my daughter." Next thing that happened was a short blackout. When Naruto regained his conscience, he found himself with his blade piercing through Tayuya. Tayuya's appearance morphed back to normal. Naruto quickly unpierced the blade and crouched in front of Tayuya, who dropped to floor and stared up at his shocked face. She reached her hand up and gently put her hand on his cheek. "Don't cry, my love. Cough, why you only did what you had to save our daughter," she said with a smile. I'm sorry, Naruto kept repeating. Tears were falling down his cheeks. She slowly wiped his tears with all the strength she could give, but felt her body become weaker and colder. Stop crying. "Why you look more handsome smiling," she said with a weak smile. "My seal acted up and forced me to take our daughter and to sacrifice her for the snake. Even in death, he won't let you be free," Naruto said sadly. He felt even more like shit, only if he found a way to remove the curse on Tayuya, but was not able. The seal was directly connected to her soul, making it impossible to separate. "Kushina has lost her mother." Naruto pulled out the ring he was going to propose with. Tayuya gave another weak smile when she saw the beautiful ring in the man she loves' hand. "And I lost the woman I loved." "Yes," Tayuya said out of nowhere. Tears began to fall from her eyes as well, as she, "I'll marry you, blondie," Tayuya said with a smile. "And Naruto, will you take me in sickness and in health? Till death do us part?" asked Tayuya, trying to recite that part from a marriage ceremony. "I do," Naruto said as he glanced up, toward the rain clouds that began to form. "Do you take me in sickness or in health, through the bad and the good, till death do us part?" Naruto asked as he noticed rain began to fall. "Tayuya." When Naruto looked down, he came face to face with Tayuya's peaceful face. Her eyes were open halfway, showing happiness, with a genuine smile on her face. She died happy to know Naruto would marry her. Naruto sent a clone to take Kushina back home. When they left, he cried. He began to wail toward the heavens, asking why they took her away. Throughout his tantrum, he couldn't hear the dark laughter inside his mindscape. "We'll meet soon, Naruto." Flashback end. "You never answered Tayuya," Naruto said with a slight chuckle. His expression soon turned into a frown. "I would have hoped the next time we met, it would be in better circumstances," Naruto said with a somber expression. Naruto equipped a single black katana from his pocket dimension. The katana had a long, thin blade that was black as the night sky. The handle was originally standard black, but a white seal tag hid most of it. I love you so much, Tayuya, so I'll be the one to free you from Orochimaru's grasp, said Naruto before he sprinted toward Tayuya. She quickly used her flute to summon 3 Doki. One Doki used his weapon to smash Naruto, but Naruto swiftly dodged by jumping on top of the fully bandaged Doki. The Doki with his eyes bandaged went for a vertical assault, which Naruto dodged and instead hurt the other Doki. Naruto appeared behind the bandaged eyes Doki's legs and cut behind its knees, severing its tendons. The Doki with a weapon went for another assault but stopped when the blonde disappeared from eyesight. Naruto appeared mid-air and slashed down on the Doki's back, defeating it. The Doki with bandaged eyes tried to reach to grab Naruto but was too late. Naruto appeared in front of it and cut open its throat. Naruto turned around and began walking toward Tayuya with his hair shadowing his eyes. Tayuya used requip that he showed her to take out a katana. Naruto trained her in the art of swords, which she became quite proficient in. She sprinted toward Naruto and went on the offensive. Naruto used his blade to block all attacks from her easily. I taught you everything you know. Do you really think you can beat me? Naruto used a counter strike to knock her down on the floor. He put his foot on her chest, keeping her in place. He went for a finishing blow, but right when he was going to land his strike, he saw his smiling Tayuya in place of the dead one in front of him, so he stopped. Tayuya, using his hesitation as a trigger, brought up her blade and slashed Naruto's face. Naruto! Yelled Urza as she stopped throwing blows with Jelal. She got out of her stupor when she heard Jelal naming a spell. Tayuya was going to go for another attack, but she stopped when she felt something piercing her chest. Naruto's blade pierced her chest. Blade of Seals. Release. Naruto muttered. He was holding one of his eyes, as the other was holding the blade that went through Tayuya. Tayuya temporarily regained control of her body. She looked up to see the wounded face of her lover. Her blade cut open his right eye. Blood fell from Naruto's eye as it fell on Tayuya's cheek. I guess this is goodbye again, Naruto said as he noticed Tayuya begin to disappear. Naruto, my answer was yes, Tayuya said as she slowly walked forward toward Naruto. Huh? My answer is yes, stupid. I will marry you, Tayuya said as she was getting closer to Naruto, with her arms wide open. Naruto's looked shocked, before looking happy. He walked closer to Tayuya with his arms wide open. I love so much Tayuya-chan, Naruto cried as he reached out for her. I love you too, Naruto-koi, Tayuya said before she was about to embrace him, but completely disappeared before doing so, causing Naruto to fall forward on his knees. Naruto stared at the floor before seething in anger. Naruto stood up and let magic uncontrollably leak out. He turned and glared at Orochimaru with so much hatred. Orochimaru unconsciously took a step back. Orochimaru, you are going to pay for this. All he got for a response was a smirk. Do you think we have time, Naruto? Orochimaru looked up as the Aetherion began to fire. Naruto looked on with wide eyes as all he saw was the brightness of the attack. Shit. Aetherion blast consumed the chamber, its light consuming all. As the blast dies down, its light dimmed down and showed a giant lacrima sprouting out the tower. Naruto turned his attention to Jelal, who began explaining the situation. Urza, you see, this is the true form of the tower, it's a giant lacrima, Jelal said with his sinister smirk. Before the Aetherion fired, Jelal was able to trick Urza to believe that Zeref was the reason he was acting like this, that he was possessed by him. She let her guard down, actually believing Jelal has changed. After he began his explanation, Urza, realizing she'd been tricked, attempted to attack him but couldn't move. A snake spread across her body, paralyzing her body. When you let your guard down and embraced me, I used that as an opening. I put my bounding snake on you. Now you will be the sacrifice I need to bring Lord Zeref back to this world. Jelal went up to her and picked her up. Let go of Urza. Naruto attempted to stop Jelal, but Orochimaru stood in his way. He extended his arm, shooting forth a wave of snakes. Naruto switched his sword stance. He held one blade in reverse and the other regular. Version 2. Impenetrable Twister. Naruto sped in a speed that caused rapid wind to form around him, destroying the snakes. Once he stopped spinning, he gave a glare toward the smirking Orochimaru. Ah, Naruto-kun, don't forget about me, Orochimaru said in a sinister way. Naruto switched back his stance into reverse grip in both hands. He crouched down slightly, calling forth his attack. I don't have time for you. Version 3. Dance of the Wind Goddess. Naruto appeared behind Orochimaru, striking him down. Naruto turned and found Orochimaru on the floor, eyes pure white. He turned around, ready to stop Jelal from what he was doing, but looked down and found a blade piercing his abdomen. He slightly turned to Orochimaru, who had a blade sticking out of his mouth. Great poker face I have, right Naru-kun? Orochimaru mocking asked, as he pulled his blade out of Naruto. Naruto held his abdomen, trying his best to hold the blood back. Do you really think an attack like that will work on me? It would have worked if I didn't know its weakness. Naruto's eyes widened when he heard those words from Orochimaru. Naruto took a quick glance toward Jelal and mentally sighed in relief when he saw Natsu punch Jelal and pull Urza out of the lacrima. His eyes returned to Orochimaru, who was giving him a mocking smile. How? Naruto questioned as blood leaked the corner of his lips. Naruto dropped on one knee, staring up at Orochimaru. It wasn't hard to figure its weakness, after witnessing your second fight with Sasuke. Naruto was even more shocked that Orochimaru witnessed that fight, the fight that signified the end of the Akatsuki threat. Naruto defeated Sasuke and saved him from the darkness that consumed him. He convinced him that returning to Konoha would be what Itachi wanted all along. Naruto began applying basic healing magic he learned from Sannin Tsunade's Senju back in Konoha, never leaving his eyes off of Orochimaru. The spell will be able to stop the blood he was losing but not be able to completely close the wound. Naruto coughed out blood, as he realized why. The blade was poisoned. Yes, this will make our fight even more entertaining, Naru-kun, Orochimaru said with his sinister smirk. If you're trying to figure out how much time you have until the poison reaches full effect, then I'll tell you. Heavy poison enters your bloodstream and affect your heart. Orochimaru said without letting the smirk on his face disappear. He good enough, Naruto said, as he wiped blood from the corner of his lips, because I can beat you in 5. Naruto ran toward Orochimaru with his blades held in reverse grip. Version 3. Wind Blade Barrage. Naruto made slashing motions, shooting blades of wind toward Orochimaru. Orochimaru sidestepped dodging the blades, but Naruto appeared in front of him with his right hand aiming at his chest. Wind Magic. Pressure Blast. Orochimaru was thrown back, the excessive force threw Orochimaru out of the tower. Naruto went to jump out the man-made hole, but turned around and gave his words of encouragement toward Natsu. Kick his ass, Natsu. Natsu didn't turn around to respond, he just gave a thumbs up. Naruto smirked and jumped out the hole, following Orochimaru outside. Fox Demon Armor. Naruto's body glowed, equipping his demonic-based armor. When the light died down, Naruto landed on one of the branching lacrima. His new armor consisted of a black and red bodysuit with black claws, armored gloves. He wore light black armor protecting his chest, shoulders, and his abdomen area. He had red fox ears growing out of his head looking like they were real. Black metal headband covering his whole forehead, reaching the top of his eyes. He was on all fours searching for Orochimaru, who no doubt landed on one of the branching lacrima. Naruto instantly jumped to the side, avoiding a giant snake heading toward him. Oh, you're using that armor. I'm surprised you have it. It was said to have been lost after Red Death Kushina was killed. Orochimaru said from on top of the snake. Naruto ignored the sly comment of his mother. Naruto used his enhanced speed to jump on the snake and attempt to strike Orochimaru. Orochimaru jumped off the snake, but it didn't stop Naruto, who went to strike the snake instead with the strength he gained with this armor. Demonic Fist. Naruto punched the top of the snake's head, causing it to fall and dispel. Naruto rushed at Orochimaru, who was about to use the Forbidden Rebirth spell he used to bring back to Yuya. I'm not going to let you, you son of... Naruto punched Orochimaru, who quickly landed on another lacrima branch. He didn't have time to recover because Naruto was already crouching in front of him. Naruto kicked Orochimaru's jaw but didn't let up, he grabbed his ankle and pulled him into another punch. Orochimaru slid through the floor, barely composing himself. The speed boost you get with that armor is quite annoying, Orochimaru said as he wiped some blood on his lip. Orochimaru put his hands forward and shot hundreds of poisonous snakes at Naruto, which Naruto killed using his claws. Orochimaru then used his own wind magic to surprise Naruto. Wind magic. Great breakthrough. Naruto was thrown back by the wind Orochimaru summoned. Naruto dug his claws into the lacrima, using them to stop himself from getting thrown any further. Orochimaru appeared in front of him and kicked him on the jaw, then he hit Naruto with precise quick strikes. Orochimaru went for a sidekick but Naruto caught it and threw him over his shoulders. Orochimaru landed on his feet but was too slow to react to Naruto's attack. Foxfire Barrage. Naruto shot a barrage of blue fireballs at Orochimaru, who was hit and slightly burned by them. Orochimaru quickly opened his mouth and came out Orochimaru with no wounds or burns. I wanted to play with you for a while longer but you began to annoy me. Orochimaru then pulled back his head and screamed his lost spell, to Naruto's horror. Poison God Slayer Bellow. Naruto jumped up onto another branch of a lacrima dodging the blast of poison. Naruto looked down and saw the effects of that blast. The lacrima that he once stood on was beginning to rot like acid was poured on it. Do you see how lethal the poison of the God of Plagues is? Orochimaru said as he licked the bottom of his lips. I would have beaten Sasuke and have his body a year ago, if it wasn't for that damn sensei of mine sealing my ability to use this magic. Why are you able to use it now then? Naruto said, trying to stall for time to analyze the potency of the poison. Well, I destroyed the seal put on me after I found the Shinigami mask, Orochimaru said. If you broke the seal, why go after me and not your precious Uchiha? Naruto asked, confused. Because I found someone more appealing than Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru said as he licked his lips. Naruto was going to ask more but Orochimaru was already upon him trying to land a hit. Poison God Slayer Decay Fist. Blackish purple energy surrounded his fists. Orochimaru tried to hit Naruto, but Naruto used the enhanced speed he gained to dodge all the fists. Naruto jumped back to gain some space. As he jumped back, Naruto clutched his chest and spat out a glob of blood. You don't have much time, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru said with a smirk. Naruto's attention instantly turned to the fight going on above him. He looked up when he felt Natsu's power reach a level that may rival his. You become strong, Natsu. I have no doubt you'll be stronger than me soon. Sadly, I may not be able to see it, thought Naruto with a smile. He turned back to Orochimaru and glared at him. He spit out more blood. As he moved his neck, he wiped his blood away, as his thoughts were plagued by Tayuya. She entrusted him with her daughter. That's right, Kushina would be alone without him. He would be damned if he left Kushina alone. I can't die yet. Naruto rushed at Orochimaru using his full speed. He went for a downward swipe which Orochimaru dodged by jumping back, but that didn't stop Naruto. Naruto appeared in front of Orochimaru, who went for a kick. Naruto crouched under the kick. He grabbed his leg and slammed him on the floor and went for a demon-powered punch. Demonic Fist. Orochimaru rolled to side dodging the attack, but the attack destroyed the lacrima under them, causing both to fall and crash into multiple lacrimas. Both stood up painfully and looked at each other. Then they felt the tower begin to shake and become unstable. Well, it seems the boy failed. Naruto-kun, it seems we will have our fun another time, Orochimaru said as he turned to leave but stopped and glanced at Naruto. Before I leave, I'm going to give a gift to the one who caught my interest. Naruto was going to stop him but Orochimaru already left. Naruto didn't really care, so he went to help Natsu and Urza, but couldn't because the whole tower began to glow. Urza was in a spectral form, watching her friends mourning for her in her funeral. She begins to look around looking for one person in particular. She feels a pull and finds herself over the river where she first became friends with Naruto. She then spotted Naruto sitting on the grass with a Kushina curled up on his chest, whose cheeks were puffed red from all that crying. Naruto was staring at the rivers with his dull eyes showing no emotion. Naruto. Only if I was stronger, you would still be here, Urza. Naruto said as he held Kushina tighter to his chest. If I was just stronger. I would have loved you like you deserved all those years ago. I would have been there to relieve the loneliness. I would have given you the world if you asked for it. Naruto said as tears began to fall down his eyes. Urza was shocked to hear all this. She attempted to touch him, but her body just went through. Naruto, please don't cry. I don't want you to feel any more sadness that you already do. I still don't understand my emotions, but I do know. I want you in my future. I want you in every memory I have. Urza yelled as she reached out for him but felt a pull. Her body began to fade. Reality. Urza woke up not realizing where she was at. She then saw Lucy, Gray and the others running toward her. Her eyes looked up, realizing she was on Natsu's arms. Natsu then walks to the beach and sets her down. Urza, never risk your life like that again. Natsu told her seriously. Urza smiled and embraced him. I will never risk my life like that sad future for my family, so I will fight to ensure a happy future. Urza said comforting. Naruto arrived as well, seeing his family of fairy tale embrace Urza. You're finally free from your past, Urza. Naruto thought with a smile. He saw Urza turn her gaze toward him. She looked at him with so much compassion it made Naruto look at her oddly. His expression changed when he saw Orochimaru form behind them. He tried to scream but only blood came out. He was too late because Orochimaru gave his curse mark to the one he desired. Natsu! Natsu! Lucy screamed, as she and Happy ran to his side. Orochimaru pulled his neck back to his body and gave a sinister smirk toward the group. Urza quickly summoned her blade and Gray was beginning to form a spell, but Naruto's weak voice stopped her. Stop! Urza! Gray! Naruto weakly said as he fell forward, glossy eyes staring at Orochimaru. Urza ran to his side and looked shocked. She had her hand on his abdomen, but pulled it back when she saw blood. She ripped off his shirt and saw a deep wound. Blood black in color and skin around the wound, purple. Naruto's time is running out, Orochimaru said in a sick sing-song manner. Urza turned to Orochimaru and glared hatefully toward him, who wasn't affected by it. What did you do to him? Urza yelled as tears threatened to fall. Orochimaru tilted his head slightly and gave her a bigger smile. He's poisoned, Orochimaru said. He turned around before a giant snake came out of the sea. He looked over his shoulders and gave Natsu a look. He has a 9/10 chance of dying, but I know he will pull through. With that, the giant snake swallowed Orochimaru, before getting hit by ice spears and dived back down into the sea. Gray, who shot his spell toward Orochimaru, turned to Natsu and watched in sadness. Natsu was thrashing in pain, sweating unlike him. Urza! Naruto's voice called out. Urza looked down and came in contact with his eyes. His eyes that once shined in happiness and later deep in sorrow, now stared at her dead. Protect. Kushina. Take care of Kushina. Naruto, don't talk like that. You'll see her soon, I promise. Urza yelled out intently. Naruto gave a weak smile before closing his eyes. Urza stood up and turned to the rest of the group. Natsu and Naruto need immediate medical attention. Let's hurry. Urza picked up Naruto and ran to the boat. Gray held Natsu and took him to the boat, the rest following behind. Once everyone was on the boat, Urza pushed it to the ocean and got on. Please Naruto, hang in there. Kushina doesn't deserve to lose both her parents and I won't be able to handle losing you either. Naruto's mindscape. Where am I? Naruto asked, as he laid down on top of a puddle of tainted water. His eyes roamed the room, marveling the sewage-like appearance, but was more interested by the giant gate at the end of the room. He stared at the gate with an emotionless look, until giant crimson eyes opened up. Hello there, boy. A demonic voice roared out, as the being showed his sharp teeth. Naruto wasn't intimidated by the voice, instead continued to look at it without emotion. He was feeling that his time was up as it was and the spare time was a sick joke from fate. The demonic voice began to laugh when he saw Naruto's expression. Ha ha ha, most humans quiver in fear when they are in presence. Even your mother was shaken by my voice. Who are you? Naruto asked without changing his expression. The figure came out of the shadows, showing itself to be a giant fox with 9 tails behind him. Naruto's expression didn't change much, but he was slightly surprised. His time at Konoha, he learned about the tailed demons formed out of negative emotions from humans. He knew that the strongest of the 9 was sealed into a human over 70 years ago, but 20 years ago it escaped. It destroyed half of the village, before being sealed into a child. The Kyuubi? I thought you disappeared years ago? Naruto asked. Naruto became surprised when a giant claw made of red energy came out of the tainted water and picked him up. The claw picked the motionless Naruto just in front of the gate, staring eye to eye with Kyuubi. I was sealed into your grandmother over 70 years ago to strengthen Konoha's military force. My power was a weapon for you humans until Kushina and your father sealed me into you and sent you to be raised by that pink-haired human. Kyuubi revealed, causing Naruto's expression to change slightly. He looked shocked that his grandmother and mother were host of the strongest of the nine-tailed demons. He was also shocked that he was the current host of the Kyuubi. Never wondered where that fox armor came from. Naruto would have berated himself if it wasn't for the current circumstances. Naruto was going to say something, but noticed that the ceiling tiles were falling. He gave a sad smile before saying, seems my time is almost up. Sorry we can't talk more, Kyuubi, Naruto said as he smiled slightly toward Kyuubi. That is why I called you here, boy. Kyuubi's voice roared out. Kyuubi knew that dying with Naruto would complicate its plans. It is possible to clean your bloodstream from the poison. All you need to do is loosen the seal. I'll leak some of my power into your bloodstream to kill off the poison. What's the price? Naruto asked wearily, as cracks appeared on the wall. He felt the deal Kyuubi was trying to play was too good to be true. All I want is a bigger living space and access to your senses. It gets kinda boring around here, Kyuubi said with an all-too-innocent tone, which sounded weird coming from his demonic voice. Naruto was going to decline, not believing any word coming from Kyuubi, but he looked down as the surface of the tainted water changed. Naruto looked down shocked when images of Kushina appeared. He completely forgot that he will be leaving Kushina all alone in this world. Naruto's lips quivered and tears formed in the corner of his eyes, causing Kyuubi to smirk darkly. Simple emotional humans. Show them someone they love and they play right into your hands. Kyuubi thought with his sinister smirk. Fine. Naruto said desperately. All doubts of Kyuubi's proposal died away after imaging Kushina alone. The claw dropped Naruto, who put his hand over his stomach. Naruto was reminded by the words of Jiraiya. He was vague at the time, but it all now made sense now. He explained that one day, to unlock his power, he will need to tweak the seal on his stomach. His fingers shined in light green energy. He slightly turned his hand, causing the symbol to loosen and enough for Kyuubi to give 1/3 of his power. Kyuubi smirked that his plan was coming to flourishing. He sent a portion of his power to Naruto's bloodstream, allowing his power to pass through his body, destroying any sign of the poison. Naruto turned to Kyuubi before falling unconscious unexpectedly. Haha he can't handle my power yet Naru-kun. The deep demonic voice of Kyuubi changed as well as its physique. Its towering form changed into that of a beautiful and curvaceous red-headed woman with a short red kimono that hugged her curves. She walked out of the cage, with a collar forming on her neck. She walks toward Naruto, slitted crimson eyes looking down at the unconscious Naruto. She crouched down and gently caressed his cheek. She licked her lips sensually and eyes stared down in a longing manner. Soon, I will be released from this place, Kyuubi said as she leaned forward. She gently kissed Naruto on his cheek before leaning back. Just wait Naru-kun. Our time will soon come. Urza stared in shock at what she was seeing. Naruto's body was covered by a malice red energy and he unconsciously changed back into the demon fox armor. Naruto growled in pain, holding his abdomen. Naruto let out a demonic scream, causing the ocean to shake and the boat to rock around. The group turned to Naruto, as his growls became more demonic and his body began to change into a more feral appearance. What's going on? A terrified Miliana asked, as she clutched to Wally's jacket. Urza also starred in fear when Naruto opened his eyes. He sat up and glared with his slitted crimson eyes at the group in front of him. His eyes met Urza's terrified ones, before trying jump to attack. Naruto's eyes rolled to the back of his head and fell forward into unconsciousness. His feral appearance changed back to normal and re-equipped back into his normal clothes. The red energy that leaked malice resided back into his body. What was that? Gray asked to no one in particular. The rest of the group stared at the unconscious form of Naruto, frozen by what they just witnessed. Juvia doesn't know. Juvia said in third person, with everyone agreeing with her with a simple nod. Urza crawled toward Naruto and cautiously reached out toward him. She rolled him to his back and looked shocked when she saw the wound disappear. She wanted to question it, but the sound of Natsu in pain got her attention away. She gave Natsu her attention, but the thought of Naruto plagued her mind. I don't know how it happened, but I'm happy you're okay. What is this place? Naruto said calmly as he stared at the pale white sky and dull gray flowers spread far in this field. Why am I here? Isn't it obvious, Naru-kun? You actually been in this place before. A beautiful serene voice spoke whispered in his ear. Naruto wished to turn around and see the owner of such voice, but felt hands wrap around his abdomen and her face nuzzled on his back. Who are you? Naruto asked her, which she replied with a gentle giggle. Shouldn't you be asking who you are? She asked Naruto, with him forming a facial expression of slight confusion. She giggled and tightened her hold on Naruto when she felt his reaction. You haven't noticed, she said softly as she moved her head away from his back and set it on his shoulders. You are not the same as you remembered, Naru-kun. Naruto turned slightly to see the women before him, getting trapped by her infinite void of black that is her eyes. She had silky black hair that complemented her eyes. She wore a white gown that gave her an appearance of high authority. Naruto continued to stare at her, not really understanding what she meant. Naruto was going to ask what is going on, but she saw the mysterious woman's hand pointing toward a mysterious white sphere that floated in front of Naruto. It showed a reflection of Naruto, which made him see obvious differences from how he looked before. One eye remained the same lifeless blue, but his left eye was now crimson red and were now slitted. His canine teeth became longer and sharper to that of a regular human. Having demonic energy travel through your body did more than just heal you, she said. It changed you physically enough for Kurama-chan liking. Naruto wanted to ask what she meant by that, but he saw her pointing toward the sky. Naruto looked toward the direction she was pointing and watched on as the sky changed and formed an image. Naruto watched as Urza stood there with a man dressed in white lab coat. She had a grim expression as she stared between him and Natsu, who laid next to him. Compared to Naruto, Natsu was in a much worse state. His complexion was pale and looked to be in pain. This is what is happening outside your body. How do you think that girl will react to your new improvements? She asked as she stood up and walked in front of him. She decided to start on why she brought Naruto here, since he did not wish to answer her question. She stared down at him, with her smile changing to a frown. Now to more pressing matters. Why did you accept Kurama's offer? She asked, sounding slightly disappointment. Naruto stared at her for a while before dropping his head and giving his answer. I didn't want Kushina to be alone. Naruto answered softly, which the woman shook her head by the reply. Oh, what a typical self-righteous answer. Break the rules of fate for someone you hold close to your heart, the mysterious woman said as she rolled her eyes. You are exactly alike to those two humans I watched years ago, she said, causing Naruto to stare up at her with confusion. Your guild's first master used a spell named Law to save her friend, and your world's most evil mage used my teachings to save his dead brother. Who are you and what do you want? Naruto asked, a little surprised that she knew the first guild master and what he guessed to be Zareth, if she actually meant him. The woman brought her hand forward and put it gently on his cheek. I am Anksuram, the god of death and life, she said with a beautiful smile that caused Naruto to feel both serenity and fear. I brought you to my terrain to speak about your decision to mess with the thread of fate. You see, I really don't like it when people mess with life and death, my realm. Anksuram said as she walked a few feet away Naruto and kneeled in front of a flower unlike the other gray flowers. It was pure white rose that stood out as beautiful compared to the others. She picked it up and walked toward Naruto. Everything is created and destroyed in their own process, and messing with this process messes with my order. You see this flower I brought in front of you, it is like the soul of your precious daughter. Naruto looked at the white flower. The white rose signifies purity, innocence to the human eyes. While all children are born with their innocence, your child is a special case in my eye. You try desperately to keep her pure and actually believe that her mother is still alive, but like every human in your hate-filled world, she will lose that innocence. Either by the sequence life is created by or the intervention of someone divine like me. Anksuram said with a huge smile that had Naruto glaring daggers at her, for putting his daughter in the middle of all this. What are trying to say? Naruto said with narrowed eyes. He didn't like how this woman was talking about his daughter and the indirect threat she was making. Anksuram smiled at his reaction, before bringing the white rose forward toward Naruto. Naruto stared at the flower as black magic began surrounding the flower, ing the life out of it. It's easy to take away as is to give, she whispered before the flower began withering away. Naruto clenched his teeth and glared with utter hatred. He wanted to attack her, but was surprised when he couldn't move. Those two I met before messed with life and death as well and paid a punishment for them, Anksuram said with a smile. I gave them the curse of immortality and the effect of killing anyone they loved. So you are going to curse me also, or are you going to continue with your talking? Naruto said, trying to get Anksuram angry but failed to do so. She smiled before causing a rift formed between them. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw an image of his daughter sleeping peacefully with Mira. Trying to provoke the god that holds your fate is really brave of you, Naru-kun, Anksuram said with a smile before it was replaced with a frown. The image of Kushina disappeared as Anksuram began talking of her reason of bringing him here. You seem to forget the last time you've been in this place, Anksuram said. Last time you were here was the time you were taken away from your brother because both of you held the keys. Naruto's eyes widened when he heard this. Anksuram noticed this and gave him another smile. Oh, you don't remember your brother? Well, you did lose those memories after your memories were sealed by the after effects of getting the key sealed in you. What do you mean? Naruto sounded like he was pleading when he asked the woman in front of him. He still didn't understand why his memory was fuzzy when he thought of his mother and why he forgot spending any time with her. Anksuram appeared before him and gently tapped her forehead, unlocking all those memories. Naruto let tears stream down his eyes as he screamed painfully at regaining the memories he had missed. Flashback. Mommy. Naruto ate my ramen again. A 4-year-old boy with dirty blonde hair and violet-colored eyes whined to his beautiful red-headed mother who was busy washing dishes. Kushina turned to her heir, giving her first a scolding glare. Naruto. I didn't eat that crybaby's ramen, he's lying to get me in trouble. Naruto argued back as he gave Menma a glare. Menma stuck his tongue out toward Naruto, as he tightly grabbed the bottom of Kushina's dress. Why can't you both just get along? Kushina sighed, until she heard her husband's voice coming from the door. Honey, I'm home. Where is my beautiful angel and my 2 miniature demons? Minato asked as he walked in, before getting tackled by 2 blonde missiles. He was caught by surprise when he noticed both of his kids glare at each other, but heard his wife explain. Long story short, Naruto ate Menma's ramen, Kushina said as she walked up to her husband and gave him a kiss. Menma smiled at his wife, before turning toward Naruto. Naruto turned away when he noticed the look Minato was giving him. Minato sighed before asking Naruto to follow him. Naruto turned toward Menma who was sticking his tongue toward him before turning and reluctantly following his dad. When he caught up with his dad, he found him looking through an old photo book. He kneeled down to show Naruto what he was looking at. Naruto looked at a photo of a younger Minato standing next to a girl with blonde hair and green eyes. Is that you, Dad? Naruto asked, which Minato nodded his head. Yes, that's me and my big sister when we were still training to be mages, Minato said. Why haven't I met her? Naruto asked, which Minato answered with a frown. She's gone, Naruto, and I couldn't say goodbye because we fought a week before I lost her. Minato said with a deep frown. Even though I annoyed her and always tried to get her mad, she was always there to protect me. Naruto, I'm not trying to scold you or anything, I just want you to realize how good you have it having your brother, Minato said with a smile, which Naruto puffed his cheeks before looking away. But, I know what you are going to say, but it's their job to get the older brother mad, the older brother's job is to take it, Minato said as he smiled toward his son. Do you understand? Yay. And if your mom asks, I was really hard on you. Naruto nodded his head, before him and Minato returned to the living room. Minato went to sit next to Kushina, who was reading a book sitting on a couch. Naruto turned to Menma, who was playing with action figures his mom got them. He was going to go to his room until Menma stopped him. Naruto, do you want to play with me? You can use this guy, Menma said as he held one of the action figures. Naruto smiled as he accepted the gesture. Minato and Kushina smiled at the interaction before snuggling into each other. Daddy! Naruto cried out, as he held his sobbing little brother close. The village was half destroyed by a giant 9-tailed fox. Minato was able to stop the fox from destroying anymore by transporting the fox away. Minato, with the help of his wife, fought the fox with all their strength, but was still weak compared to the legendary demon. Minato turned to his sons, which he used his magic to transport them there. Gave both of his sons a reassuring smile, that was completely pointless since blood was coming down the corner of his mouth. I transported you and your brother here to seal away the power and soul of Kyuubi in you and the darkness in Menma. Minato said, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. Kyuubi was about to attack them before Kushina used her chains to hold him down. I won't be able to hold him long, Kushina yelled as she tried to hold the demon back. Minato nodded as he summoned the lost spell he found in an ancient ruin. Divine 5-Circle Seal. A seal appeared over them and Kyuubi as well as below them. Kyuubi's eyes widened when he saw the spell and began to thrash harder. Kushina struggled to keep the demon in line, so she gave Minato a look to hurry. Naruto turned to Naruto and Menma, who became immobilized when bright seals traveled across their bodies. Minato took that as cue to finish the seal. Extraction. Hands made of pure magic began coming out of both seals. The fox roared in pain as he was being split in two. His soul was split in two beings. One was light gray color while the other was a dark crimson-red color. The seal that extracted the darker color soul minimized before appearing on Menma's stomach while the other seal appeared on Naruto's stomach. They both fell unconscious as the light on the seals died down. Minato and Kushina gasped for air as they finished the process, before running toward each other and holding each other tightly. Minato heard his wife sob, while trying to hold his own tears back. I don't want to separate them, Minato, and I don't want to leave you, Kushina cried as she clutched Minato's shirt tightly. I know, I hate this too, but this is the only way to stop him, Minato said with tears. Kushina, I want you to go raise Naruto to be strong and be able to harness the full power of Kyuubi. I will teach Menma to control the darkness of Kyuubi and use it as an ally. But I know you are still reluctant to leave, but the seal will be broken if Naruto and Menma stay too much time together. Minato brought Kushina into another hug. I sealed the power of Kyuubi in you so when the time comes, transfer it back to Naruto. The seal made it sure we will not live long, so use the time wisely to prepare them for what is to happen soon. Minato said as he gave his wife one more passionate kiss before going toward Naruto. He caressed his cheek before grabbing Menma. Minato turned to Kushina one more time before flashing away. Kushina nodded at the final moment before taking Naruto with her. She decided to go to the place she heard from her mother. Fairy tale. Flashback end. Naruto tried to say as he gasped for air. Anksuram smiled as she noticed their time is over. So it seems our time here is done. Naruto's eyes widened as he tried to stop her. He still wanted more answers, but the world around him began to change. Naruto opened his eyes and found himself in a hotel room. He turned to his left and found Natsu laying there with a towel on his head. He noticed that they were the only people here. He walked to the bathroom to see if what he saw was true. His right hand trailed his left eye, noticing his left eye was in fact different. I can't show this to the others. Naruto used an illusion spell to change his left eye and teeth back to normal. He then splashed water in his face as he thought of the new information he acquired. Menma. Unknown forest. A man with a black cloak looked to the sky for an unknown reason. He felt like someone was calling for him, but nothing was there. Menma-kun, hurry up. An annoyed girl whined as she called for him. Menma turned back before continuing his travel. Someone called for me. Are you sure that Natsu is going to be alright? Lucy asked Naruto, who was busy trying to seal away the negative energy coming from the cursed seal. His hands glowed a lime green as he held both of them over the seal. Don't worry, Lucy. During my mission I learned from a perverted master of seals. I studied this curse mark before too, so I may be able to seal most of it away. Naruto said with a weak smile. He inwardly sighed in relief as he saw a calmer facial expression appear at the place of the visual pain Natsu showed. Can't you just destroy the curse mark? Gray asked as he was leaning by a wall inside the room. Juvia stood next to the man. She silently sent glances toward the ice user. I'm sorry, but I cannot, Naruto said with a somber tone. He studied with Jiraiya for hours just to be able to restrain the negative effects, but completely eradicating it was nearly impossible without killing him or severely affecting his nerve system. It would be too dangerous to try to erase the power of the curse mark from his system. So what is going to happen to Natsu? Happy asked Naruto as he turned to Happy and gave him a reassuring smile. You don't have to worry, Happy, he will be fine. I may not be able to get rid of the curse mark, but it WTIVE effects from acting up. Naruto said as the light covering his hand changed into a white color. Well, I think I was able to enforce the seal I drew on. He turned to the people waiting inside the room before giving him his analysis. He should be a little weak when he wakes up, but he will be good as new in a few days. Everyone felt relieved by the news, but Naruto noticed something. A certain redhead was not in the room with them. He turned toward Lucy as he asked her whereabouts. Lucy, where's Urza? Oh, I think she is outside in the beach. Naruto gave a small nod before leaving the room. He knew why she wanted to be alone, and honesty, he couldn't blame her. The feeling of finally being free was something to appreciate, as he lived his life like that since he can remember. That is the fairy tale way, and he always felt Urza lacked it since he first met her. He chuckled as he still remembered that cocky little girl who only warmed up to him when he challenged her to a battle of swords. He found her sitting on the beach with tears streaming down her cheeks. He sat next to her as he stared at the mass blue ocean. Hey. Urza ignored Naruto as she continued to stare at the ocean as well. Her mind was elsewhere as she continued to feel ashamed in not being able to save Simon, Jelal, Natsu, and even Naruto back at the tower. Don't tell me you're going to act like you used to, Naruto said with a heavy sigh. You're finally free from the tower, be more positive about it. I'm angry because I couldn't save any of you, Urza said, before she felt something on her head. She looked up to see Naruto smiling gently at her with his hands set on her head. He ruined the moment when he started taunting her with nicknames. Cute little Urza still thinks she has to take of everyone. Naruto smiled faded as he stood up, eyes softly staring at the ocean before him. If that was true, Kushina would still have his mother. Naruto. Urza softly said before Naruto walked a few feet away from Urza. He summoned a standard all-black katana and pointed it toward Urza. Oi, stand up and let's continue this with blades instead of continuing with words, Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head. This is the way of swords solve our issues. Urza wanted to deny him a duel right now, but Naruto baited her in when a rock connected with her head. A tick mark appeared on her forehead, but she continued to try to deny his request for a duel. Another pebble connected with her head. Naruto stabbed the blade deep into the sand and leaned on the sword. He gave a taunting smirk as he waited for the hot-headed Urza to act. Is Urza-chan getting angry? Naruto said childishly before bringing his blade up to block Urza's sword. Urza glared at the blonde, while he had a taunting smile before pushing her away. Urza dug her feet in the sand as she changed her attire into a red hakama bottoms with a flame design on the footing. Her breasts were bandaged to keep her big breast from getting in the way. She held on to her katana tightly before launching toward Naruto and setting a series of blade strikes. You've improved a lot, Urza-chan. Naruto complimented as he either dodged or blocked strikes from Urza. Her eyes dried up from the tears from before as she continued trying to hit Naruto. My skills are only thanks to your mother, Naruto, Urza stated, causing him to smile at the comment. Even after meeting Onxarum and recovering some memories of his mother, he still couldn't remember her in Fairy Tail. The only memories was those he saw of him and Menma, his apparent brother. He didn't want to comment on her since only very faint memories of her came up when he thought more about her. He decided to change the topic, specifically on the first time they fought. Do you still remember the first time we ended up like this? Naruto said as he crossed blades with her, stopping her in her tracks. He closed in as his face was only a few inches away from Urza. When you were still that girl who hid behind that cold exterior. And the only way I got you to talk was by provoking you into fighting me, Naruto said softly, causing Urza to lose some of her focus. Naruto used his foot to trip her back as he landed on top of her with his blade on her neck. Her ignored the blade on her neck as her eyes intently stared at Naruto's. He slowly lowered his head next to her left ear as he gently whispered words that sent chills down her spine. I once thought I could protect everyone I cared for with just my strength alone, but you know what that got me? What? Urza hesitantly asked, still not able to hold her hard exterior she constantly showed those in the guild. Regret, Naruto said as he got off Urza and returned his blade back to his personal pocket dimension. Urza looked at Naruto, who held out his hand. Urza took it as Naruto pulled her up. Her eyes continued to gaze toward him as his empty eyes looked down at the floor. I lost people I care deeply for Anxi don't wish to lose more Urza. Naruto looked up at her as he set his hands on her shoulders. He gave a smile that looked a bit forced. For those we lost, we can only shed tears for them before living fully for them. Now let those tears out. Naruto said softly. Urza continued to stare at Naruto, before her eyes began to water again. She wrapped her arms around Naruto as she cried her eyes out. Naruto's hands gently set themselves on her lower back as he set his head on her shoulders. His cold eyes didn't shed tears with her as he stared at the ocean, thoughts plagued with the image of Tayuya. I couldn't protect you, but I swear I will protect you, Kushina. Naruto thought before he heard Urza make a comment about him. You know, that was as cheesy as what you said be back then, Urza said between her sobs, causing Naruto to look a little down. Wow, way to ruin the mood, Urza-chan. Naruto said softly as he made another soft comment. I thought the first words to come after my inspiring speech was a love confession. Naruto was dropped down to the floor when Urza tripped him this time. Her eyes were red from the tears as she wiped any remaining before giving a stern glare toward the fallen Naruto. And you still act like an idiot. Urza changed into a blouse and skirt as she walked back to check on Natsu. Naruto's eyes stared at the retreating Urza, as his mind was on one thing specifically. Urza's body sure developed. 3 days later, oi, why'd I have to carry idiot over here? Gray argued as they walked toward the guild as they just exited the train. Naruto was a little annoyed and waved at Gray from in front. Stop whining, we're almost the guild, Naruto said as he turned toward Happy and Lucy. Don't you two have anything to say? You ruined my sleep in the train with your talking and now no words. Naruto said with an angry tone, causing Lucy to smile nervously at the guy she found really cute. She couldn't believe how she made herself look in front of him. Naruto didn't let them talk as he turned toward the other silent member. And you're quiet too, Urza-chan? Normally you would criticize everything right now. Urza didn't comment with words as she just gave a small smile, making Naruto give another heavy sigh. I can't wait to return to my cute daughter, at least she shows gratitude for what I do for her. Naruto made another verbal jab, before reaching the guild. It was a complete different guild than he remembered. Yeah, he heard they were reconstructing, but to go this far, in just 3 days too. He really didn't like change, but could really care less about the new changes. He walked past all the loud members as his eyes wandered for just one person. He found her sitting next to a guy with long hair and piercings. Kushina was holding a figure of what appeared to be him, but Naruto could care less as only one thought came to his mind: stranger. Gajeel was silently sitting on a table until this redhead two-year walked up to him. She stared at him with awe before struggling to get up to the seat next to him. She's figure she claimed to be her father next to him, as she kept trying to get him to play with her. He continued trying to ignore her as he wondered when this kid's parents will show up and take care of this unattended child. He saw the white-haired barmaid notice her and call for her, but instead an angry blonde appeared before him. He grabbed Gajeel by his collar and held him with a blade on his neck. What do you think you are doing with my daughter? Are you trying something pervy knowing she will grow to be incredibly beautiful? Naruto accused as everyone now was staring at Naruto and Gajeel. Naruto, stop, he wasn't trying nothing, he is our newest member, Makarov said, causing Naruto to look toward him before turning back to Gajeel. He let go before giving a warning and in some way an apology. I apologize, but you should understand my duty as Kushina's parent. You should realize that I as a father will hurt anyone trying to hurt my daughter, Naruto said with a small bow. He looked up with his cold eyes glaring deeply at Gajeel, who was still confused by the whole thing. Anyone? Naruto's attitude turned a 180 degrees as he smiled toward a naive Kushina who had a figure of him. He grabbed the figure from Kushina, as he waved it in front of Makarov. What is this? I never authorized a figure of is that a small Kushina on my back. Oh, we sell figures of everyone's favorite fairy tale member. It helps pay for the damn destruction you guys do. Makarov said that more directly toward his destructive guild. He gave a nudge on his knees in a suggesting manner. I thought the girls would hunt you like the dog when they realize you're a caring single father of this cute little thing. Damn it, this is going to ruin his badass representative he gained throughout the years. Kushina took the figure from her father, as she returned playing with it. Naruto sighed as his daughter's attitude before turning to Mirajane, who appeared next to him. So what's up with the new improvements? Oh, Master thought it would be nice to improve the guild, Mirajane said with a cheery exterior, even though she was a little embarrassed that she took her eyes off her for just a second and ended up losing her. Naruto stretched his arms back and gave a yawn before Naruto motioned his hand for Mirajane to come closer. She leaned in as Naruto gently moved some strands behind her left ear as he whispered softly. Don't worry about Kushina, she is one hyperactive kid, Naruto said, before turning to ask her daughter if that was correct. He found Kushina missing again as he jumped on the table as he called for his daughter. Kushina. Everyone watched as Naruto looked for his daughter frantically. Everyone who knew Naruto before he left the guild knew how dramatized he was for stuff he cared for. He ran around the guild looking for his daughter, as he pushed away Gray out of the way when him and the rest of who arrived noticed Gajeel. He found his daughter looking up at Urza again, most likely checking her hair again. Naruto ran up to her and grabbed her in a tight hug. You little troublemaker, always worrying me. Naruto, what happened to Natsu? Makarov asked, causing Naruto to stop suffocating Kushina as he turned to Makarov. I think we should talk about that in private. Makarov sighed at Naruto's usual staying discreet with the information he has. Makarov nodded as he walked toward his office, motioning Naruto to follow him. Naruto turned to Kushina, who was still innocently staring at Urza again. I need you to stay put, Kushina. If you do, I'll buy you a treat when go home. Naruto asked his daughter, who turned to him. She pointed at Urza, who was visually comparing the qualities Kushina shared with the girl she saw back in the tower. Can I play with her? Kushina asked, causing Naruto to look at Urza too. Urza was taken off guard by the girl's sudden interest in playing with her as Naruto picked her up and held her in front of Urza. It depends if Urza-chan wants to play with you, Naruto asked in a childlike manner, causing Kushina to act off and softly ask Urza if she wanted to play. Do you want to play with me? Kushina asked with a soft puppy-eyed look. Urza couldn't help comply as Naruto quickly set Kushina on her arms before running toward Makarov. Kushina brought her dad's action figure in front of Urza's face as she asked Urza if she wanted to use him. His daughter is really cute, Lucy softly said as she also tried to play with Kushina. Naruto. So are you going to explain to me what happened to Natsu? Makarov asked Naruto, who lazily sat on a chair. Well, I will, but I would like to have some questions answered too, Gramps, Naruto said as he leaned in. He looked serious as his cold, empty eyes glared at Makarov, demanding honest answers from him. Makarov motioned him to continue as Naruto did. Did you know of a brother I might have? Yes, your mother told me before she died, Makarov answered, as he was curious on how he knew about this. Kushina informed him of the demon attack on her home village and the importance of keeping Naruto and his younger brother away from each other. What can happen to the world if Naruto and Menma reunited before they finished their training? So he knew and never told you. The deep voice of Kyuubi whispered in his mind. Naruto ignored the demon as he slammed his hands on the table, desperately trying to hold his composure but failing miserably. Care to tell me why I can't remember him? Naruto asked slowly, trying not to scream directly at Makarov's face. Kushina sealed your memories to wait until the perfect time to reveal him, but she died before that, Makarov said as he looked at the child he watched grow before his very eyes. Is that why my memories of her are blurry at best? Naruto asked Makarov, who didn't know how to answer. He didn't know why Naruto forgot about Kushina after she passed away and actually believed it was his PSQI trying to protect him from the pain of losing his mother, but apparently it was not. Naruto took the silence another way as he felt Makarov was keeping secrets from him. He changed the topic away, as he sat back down on his chair. He began explaining what happened at the Tower of Heaven, not leaving no details out. While he explained what happened, he didn't realize that laughter of a cunning vixen. She rolled on the floor as she held her abdomen. She stared at the empty black sky she created to ooze her demented comfort. She licked her lips as she could just feel her freedom coming sooner than she realized. Sweet freedom, ah. Wonder which country I should destroy first. The end. Now we will see you in the next video.